365 days ago, I took my last sip of caffeine. And the benefits of being caffeine-free for an entire year are so convincing, I might have a crack at getting you to do the same. I was looking into some statistics around caffeine consumption, and it said that over 85% of adults in the US consume some type of caffeine. In fact, caffeine is the most widely consumed mind-altering drug on the planet, which is a wild freaking stat that I'm no longer part of. Like most people, I love freaking caffeine. I mean, normally have 300-400 milligrams of caffeine within an hour of waking up, and then smash a workout, then just carry that into the day and have a super freaking productive day, and then oftentimes have another one around 3-4 o'clock to kind of get me through the evening time. Caffeine was even like a cultural thing. I remember the first time I did a shot of espresso, like a hot shot of espresso with my uncles. I'm like, did you guys just shoot that back? And it was like almost like doing a shot of alcohol. It was like something cool to do, you know, even if you didn't need it. Even if I went to the barber shop, it was just offered to you. It was more like a just thing you did. I couldn't even function without caffeine. And I realized that I was making all my decisions in a caffeinated state. 7:08, 4 minutes to get back, 5 minutes to take a shower. You got plenty of time. Like ideas that have to be caffeinated, hard conversations that have to be caffeinated, sales calls have to be caffeinated, any type of coaching call, event. I'd always amp up my caffeine at events. Sometimes I'd screw up the dosage. I'd take too much and I'd be stuttering. I couldn't like even put together a sentence. And I was like, holy crap, it became a real problem. And I was like reliant on it to perform. I didn't see a problem with it. I was like, this is the best thing on planet Earth. I mean, even science supports caffeine. I mean, you can live longer. Your body may process glucose better. You're less likely to develop heart failure. Your liver will thank you. I never thought caffeine was a big deal. I mean, I've even had my own, family members say, dude, caffeine is the least of your concerns right now. Like, have a freaking coffee. You're good, bro. The reason I came off caffeine is because I never wanted to fall asleep again. I've been asleep my entire life. Asleep. My head has not been connected to my heart. And what I mean by that is that caffeine created almost a mental disorder. It led to this obsession with productivity and achievement, and it built this identity that I could only maintain from this chemical. I was asleep. I was numb. I didn't see value in relationships or emotional connection or intimacy. I was so disconnected because this stuff, it can literally put you in an overdrive where all you care about is doing. And I built this identity, this ego around success, fame, money, and the caffeine was a product that drove me. And I couldn't do anything in the absence of it. And that became scary. What eventually accumulated was the most traumatic experience of my life, which was my separation. And not even having the strength to make things right and say, wait, I want to work on this. I was so disconnected. It took that for me to realize I have a serious problem. The reason I didn't know how to emotionally connect with my spouse, and the reason I didn't see value in it, was because I never learned how to connect with myself. So if I've had to fix this in me, and it didn't just affect her, it affected, like, you could ask my family members, you could even ask team members, you could even probably ask clients. Like, Vince was there, but he wasn't really there. I was living off of what I call frantic energy. I was just constantly frantic. It was always like reactionary. I was never calm. If I would be terrified of boredom, like sitting still would drive me crazy. And caffeine was the thing that put me into overdrive and kept me out of that place that I hated. I've learned how to slow life down, and removing caffeine has forced me now to operate off of what I call authentic energy. The first month is horrendous. Horrible. The first 2 weeks was freaking brutal. I text my brothers and they're like, dude, just have a freaking coffee. I'm like, I can't literally function. It was a disaster. I was like, this is the dumbest decision ever. I just had to lie down. I had zero motivation. Like, normally I've got ideas. I want to go work. I can't wait to get to my desk. Like, I'm an A-type dude that just gets it done. I had a list of things. It felt like an Olympic event just to sit up on the couch. And then there was a period from like week 4 for like the first, I'd say 5-6 months. There were some days that were complete blah. I just had no energy and I felt like the most boring person in the room. And I didn't like how I was showing up, to be honest. Like to some of my podcasts, to even coaching calls, I just felt like boring. I felt calm. I didn't like it. I didn't have that energy. I didn't have that, let's go. Come on, guys. We got to do this. I didn't have that intensity that I used to have. And then I realized like that wasn't even authentic energy. That was all fake. That was all artificial energy. And I didn't like that I was building something off of artificial energy. And most people say, yeah, Vince, it's not a big deal. For me, it was a massive deal. And I didn't like being owned by this chemical. It's been one of the hardest transitions I've ever gone through. But it's been by far the coolest experience I've had, because now I haven't had caffeine for 1 year, which is insane. I can train hard in the gym without caffeine. That is mind blowing to me. I feel like I'm on a couple espressos all day long now, but there's no ups and downs. I didn't even know that was possible. So I just decided to screw chemicals and live a chemical-free life. I mean, I'm not completely chemical-free, but there's chemicals in everything. But like at the dosage I was at, it was creating severe problems. 1 year later, I mean, it's crazy. Like we just knocked out 6 videos in the gym and I haven't had a sip of caffeine. How I came off, I just went cold turkey. I didn't follow a program. I know some people kind of wean you off, like have a mixture of decaf, caffeine until you're all decaf, etc. I just went straight off. I did discover this organic herb called Ticino, and it kind of tastes like coffee. It's a coffee substitute that can definitely help, so it doesn't feel like you're completely like you're removing something that created some comfort. Maybe it's the warmth, whatever, or the smell. But I went to sparkling water. That was my go-to. I've introduced like diet root beer every once in a while. That helped take the edge off. And really, I just took it one day at a time. It was a long freaking trek. It probably took, I'd say, about 9 months until I got to a place where like I'm consistently mentally in a good place. But I'd say the first 6 to 9 months, there were a lot of blah days where it was just like crappy. I'm like, I just don't feel motivated, and I hate that freaking feeling. What I've also learned is how to listen to my body. Like when I need to take a nap, I now go take a nap, right? And what caffeine does is it doesn't give you energy, it delays fatigue. What happens is you have to pay back the debt later on, and I never liked that concept. So now there's no debts to pay back, because when I'm tired, I'm just like, that's a sign, hey, have a nap. It's interesting, you learn so much about your body though. Like you'll come in and out of waves where like sometimes in the day, like you're just blah and you're just like, hey, this is just a wave. You learn to ride it, you don't panic, you don't take a chemical to like override what your body's trying to communicate with you. And then next thing you know, you got some energy in the evening time, and you just start to learn a lot about your body. It's a different type of journey. That's what I'll tell you. Now, does that mean I might not have another coffee the rest of my life? I don't know. But right now it's been 1 year, and I'm just going to continue the course. That's where we're at right now. Should you cut caffeine? I think everybody should cut it out for at least 30 days and then decide. I see it 2 ways. I believe that everything in moderation, but I also believe that moderation can kill, right? So when you say just a little bit of chemicals, like the devil's in the dose, I get that. What you're basically saying is I'm okay putting a little bit of poison in my body. You know what I'm saying? So you got to ask yourself, like, why would you put any type of poison in your body? And I understand there's 2 schools of thought. I'm not really here to debate. I know the benefits have been immense for me. I would recommend everybody at least try it for 30 days and then try and go for a year. And I guarantee you'll be able to see, it's almost like stepping out of the matrix. That's the best way I can put it. You're almost like actually living, and you can actually see and hear and think clearly because you're not in this caffeinated state that alters your brain. So it's definitely an experiment you should try at least once in your life. What you do after that, your choice, but at least give it a shot for sure.